Hi, I'm Andrew, welcome to the video. This video is to show you around this Daihatsu Hijet. So it's a 2009 Daihatsu Hijet with manual transmission, four-wheel drive, air conditioning and power steering. Not all of them have all of those things, which is why I mentioned those specifically. This is a K truck, for those not familiar with that, recently imported from Japan. It's a 658cc three-cylinder petrol engine with dual variable valve timing. And I must say, it's a cracking little engine. Despite its small size, really free revving, feels really eager, really keen to go, nice wide rev range. So really enjoyable to drive. Right, I'll just take you around it. It's got the usual range of minor stone chips on that flat front panel there. Hope you can see okay in the sun. I'm not complaining about the sun because I'm making this in winter in the UK and it is lovely to have a bit of sun. This one has been fully rust proof. Excuse my camera gear in the back, by the way. This one's been fully rust proof, so if you're looking at the chassis rails thinking they look a bit dull and why on earth hasn't he cleaned them, that's because they are covered in rust proofer. For those interested, I use Built Hamber Dynax rust proofing products, so S50 inside the chassis rails, UB for the majority of the underbody, and then UC for the bits that can be seen. You probably noticed a little fog light that I've added on. There's no spare reversing light to convert on these, so I had a separate one. It's got a matching set of tyres, humorously, at least to me, titled Yokohama Job. Plenty of tread left on them. No bonnet to lift up on this one. I'll show you where all the bits and pieces are in a few minutes. This is a manual, but they're available in automatic, so if manual's not really your thing, then give me a shout via the website andrewsjapanesecars.com and I'll see what I can do. So in case you're wondering, all of these sides come down and you could actually remove them if you wanted to. I'm not going to today because as standard these have a little bolt in the way to stop it sliding off. So that makes it easier to load, and it also means that you can transport something slightly wider than would fit in with the sides up, or longer if you wish to. So if you want to transport a ladder or some long pieces of wood, they've thought of that too. So you've got a rack here with stop ends on and then some specific lashing points just there. Okay, let's have a look inside. Before we do, just point out the monsoon shields, fairly standard on these. So you can have the window open a little bit in the pouring rain. Definitely built for utility and function over luxury, these cabs. And that's not just a comment for the Hijet, that's for all of these really. So fog light switch that I've added there, added a switch that makes it fit in nicely, looked like it was intended to be there all along, or that it was there all along. Power steering, as I mentioned before, indicators on the right, as with all of these, or all Japanese imports really. A single dial there in front of us, and just switch it on. That also becomes the fuel gauge. So 98,588 kilometers at the moment. That will increase slightly. You'll notice there, bottom left, we've got the four-wheel drive button. So this is an electronically switchable four-wheel drive. It doesn't have high and low ratio like a carry or a minicab, But having said that, first gear on these, on all K trucks, is very, very low, because they need to be able to get going up a steep hill in four-wheel drive with a full load in the back, which is 350 kilos, by the way, as per the sticker on the back. You might have spotted it earlier on. Moving across then, we see the heater controls and, get this, AM and FM radio. I love these little radios. The speakers, they're single speaker, AM and FM. Not all of them have FM. You're probably aware though that the FM is a different frequency range in Japan to ours in the UK. If you like Radio 2, that's fine, because that is in the crossover section of the frequency range. If you don't, you might need to fit a band expander if you want to keep this stereo, or change it for a different unit if you prefer. So heater controls, AC, as I said. Nice big storage area. 12 volt and ashtray there. This hasn't been smoked in, certainly not to my nose anyway. Sorry, the light's really making it quite hard to show you everything here. Cup holder there. Glove box down there. This comes with a full set of books. I haven't got them with me right now, but I will insert a picture. So 5-speed manual. I said earlier there's no bonnet, so the brake fluid is in there, and then everything else is under these. So I'll just get the tripod set up and then I'll show you that. Okay, I'll show you the engine bay. I say it in all my videos, so I may as well say it in this one as well. I'm not a big fan of washing or steam cleaning or pressure washing engine bays. I like the car to be clean, hopefully you can tell that, but engine bay not so bothered. So because I just think you can introduce more problems. So there's a little lever that I'm getting with my finger there to make this fold like that, and then this lifts up, and then you see these straps behind the backrest of the seat. Let's do the same on this side. So this has had engine oil and filter changed, air filter changed as well. Check the coolant, checked all the diff and gearbox oils, changed the spark plugs as well. So in here we've got a dual screen wash and coolant reservoir. You don't want to get those the wrong way around. The oil fill is there. I don't think I pointed out the battery before, did I? So that's under this cover. I'm going to mention that it's got its original manufacturer's cover on, because not many of them make it this far in their life with that still intact. So that's some sign that it's been cared for. Okay, so on this side we have the jack. The rod to wind the jack up is behind the passenger seat, and then the dipstick is down there. I don't know whether you can see that or if my head's entirely in the way. If you like to do work on vehicles yourself and you're wondering how on earth you get to some of the other bits of the engine, well, the answer is in front of you there. So this cover comes off and then you can get to the further aft parts of the engine, I guess, if you need to. You can do the spark plugs from the side. Okay, let's take it for a drive. So if you're wondering whether you'll fit in one of these, I'm 6 foot tall and the leg room is pretty good, I would say. You have to do a little shimmy with your left leg to get around the steering column, but yeah, overall I would say the leg room is pretty good. There's certainly comparable with the Suzuki Carry, I would say. Probably slightly more comfortable than the Suzuki Carry. Definitely feels a little bit more willing on at higher speeds, but we'll come to that in a moment. Definitely more legroom in one of these than in a Honda Acti, for example. So key in, fires up straight away. You've already seen that, I guess, but yeah, just to describe it. All right, let's go. So nice and smooth clutch action to pull away. You notice that low first gear straight away. What I tend to find when driving one of these is that the gear you need is one higher than you would use if you're in, say, a standard everyday sort of diesel engine vehicle. So if you're coming up to a corner that you know is a second gear corner and you put this in second, that will be too low a gear for this vehicle, just because it's geared so low, because it's designed, it's got a job to do as per the tyres, and if they geared it for high speed road use, then it wouldn't be any good for its load logging capabilities. So yeah, there you go. You might well find yourself cleaning the windscreen a lot when you first drive one of these, if you're not used to the indicator and the wipers being on the other side. I said earlier in the video that it's a very willing little engine. This, it feels very, very happy to rev. I don't tend to thrash it or anything, but really, really nice and willing, a good amount of power. What else can I tell you about the Hijet? The suspension, there's leaf springs at the back and McPherson strut on the front. It's pretty firm as well. Obviously, this is a function over luxury design brief, as I said before. Steering's really nice and light. The manoeuvrability on these is absolutely incredible. The steering lock is very, very impressive. So you can turn it round in a really, really tight space. It's always a surprise to me when I drive one of these. Not going to quite make it back into the parking space, but I think you'll agree that is pretty good. Just in a bit of traffic, and then we'll it'd be on in a 50 limit road, I think, so we'll get a bit of speed up. These things are happiest, in my view, cruising along at between 50 and 60 miles an hour. I hope you're not buying one of these with speed in mind. If you are, you may need to have a bit of a rethink. But yeah, happiest if you're covering a fair distance, you're on a national speed limit road, then 50 to 60 is where it feels comfortable. I don't know what the top speed is actually. I suspect it's capable of a lot more than that. Oh, we could be here a little while. There we go. Right, I was steaming up a little bit, so just put the AC on. Now, as we're driving along here, you might think, blimey, he's thrashing it. Don't worry, I'm not. just speeding up because I needed to get up to road speed fairly quickly. It accelerates pretty well. I mean, it's not fast. I don't know what the 0 to 60 time is, but it accelerates pretty well. It feels like a really willing engine. I've said that a few times, I think, so I should probably not say it again, but yeah. If you notice, the tick over is quite high at the moment. When you've got accessories on, like fan, like AC, then as well as obviously the engine revs rising when the AC clutch kicks in, because this is such a small engine, the computer actually raises the tick over revs to make sure the alternator doesn't bog the engine down too much. So you accelerate up through the gears fairly quickly. We've just gone past a huge commercial vehicle dealership. I often find myself wondering how well these would sell if they were routinely available. I know the Hijet has been available in various guises and various periods of time in this country, but if they were routinely available all the time like they are in Japan. Right, up to 50 miles an hour limit here. On the subject of Daihatsu availability, you may know that Daihatsu pulled out of new car sales in this country, but if you're worried about parts availability, I suggest there's no need to be too concerned. There are so many of these about in Japan that the parts availability is, and I suspect will continue to be, really good. If you need help getting any parts, give me a shout via the website, andrewsjapanesecars.com, as I said, and I should be able to help you out. So we're doing 50 now. You probably gather the road noise has increased a little bit just because of what I keep on banging on about. You may think that I'm being very negative about these vehicles. I absolutely love these K trucks. The simplicity of them is a breath of fresh air in terms of a driving experience. Yeah, great fun. Really nice, really different thing to drive compared to most of the other dull stuff you see out on the road. Okay, that's about it for this video. Thanks for joining me. I hope it's given you a reasonable insight and overview into the Hijet here. If you found yourself so taken with this little beauty that you'd like to buy it, then obviously I would love to sell it to you. Head on over to andrewsjapanesecars.com. There'll be a link in the description, and the full advertisement, if you like, will be on there, and then there'll be a form there where you can get in touch with me. So, thanks for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.